And we find the glories of the holy name throughout the Srimad Bhagavatam, beginning, middle, and end. And very specifically, the topic of the holy names is addressed in the 6th canto, because after Parikshit Maharaj hears about the hell that living entities go through in the material world due to their own karma, he wants to know how they will be saved, because that's the heart of a Vaishnava, paradukha-dukhi, which means one who suffers because of the suffering of others. So he asks Shukadeva Goswami about their deliverance. How will the Lord protect them here in the material world? And his answer is to tell the story of Ajamil, which he had heard through disciplic succession. And in the story of Ajamil, he then unpacks the tattva of the holy name. And one of the aspects that I just heard Srila Prabhupada speaking on recently was that if one even incidentally or accidentally connects with or hears the holy name, then that person gets immeasurable benefit. Whatever the name of that store that just closed in Palo Alto is. Yeah, but the store had a name too. We just saw it last night. It closed. Forever what? Forever Flawless. Then the store closed, unfortunately, and it looks to be abandoned now. There's just a few signs hanging in a lackluster way from the walls. But the holy name is forever flawless. And the process of chanting Hare Krishna is forever flawless. It's only a matter of one's own appreciation of the holy name, because when we don't realize its potency, then we may not take it seriously, but the holy name still acts. And the Prabhupada said, but it takes longer. But if one is careful to chant the holy name, being respectful of the various ways in which one should move in the world without causing harm to oneself or others, also summarized in the 10 offenses, of which there are 11, then one can very quickly feel the effects of the holy name and reap the benefit of Krishna's presence in his holy name. So we can take it that in all circumstances here in this material world, there will be danger, as is mentioned in 10th canto, padam param yad vipadam. With every step we take, there's danger in the material world. You can't get around it. We're already in that atmosphere. And the way in which we can have immediate protection through association with the Lord is by chanting Hare Krishna. So it's the primary process for advancing in devotional service, and it's especially individualized in japa. A lot of people can sit in kirtan because there's a backbone to it, and it's a lot of fun to sit with friends and chant Hare Krishna. But to sit by oneself and chant the holy name very deliberately as a prayer to the Lord, it takes practice, and it's a good test of our own lifestyle consciousness, which results in our receptivity to the holy name. So it's a good idea to chant japa, is my conclusion. Om Tat Sat. Any reflection?
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
So, Guru Maharaj, I recently read a verse from the pastime of Ambarish Maharaj and Durvasa Muni. Durvasa Muni says a verse glorifying the holy name as well. He says, Yannam Shruti Matrena Puman Bhavati Nirmala Tattirth Padam Kim Vai Dasa Nama Vashishyate. He says, simply by hearing the holy name of whom any person can become free of all the material, dust, nirmala, from all the material association. What to speak of those who have taken shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna? What is there remaining to gain for them? So, that really struck with me. Wow. Just that verse.
Thank you very much. And speaking of what more is there to gain, Now that Hansapriya and Radhabalava have returned, we feel that there can be no greater gain. Hare Krishna. Somehow or other, I didn't realize it, but I couldn't get any bhav. And now I'm starting to feel it again. Thank you very much for coming back. Hare Krishna. So shall we try? Yes. Let's try again. Hare Krishna. Just to check in. One thing that Prabhupada mentioned yesterday, as I was listening to him speak about chanting Hare Krishna, he quoted from Srinivasa Acharya's Ashtakam about the Goswamis, Sankhya Purvaka Namagana Natabi. Sankhya Purvaka, Prabhupada said, means numerical strength. And he said, to have a legitimate spiritual practice, you have to keep a number. It can't be arbitrary, as then your mind rules the practice, not the acharya. So Prabhupada said, some devotees, like Haridas Thakur, chanted incessantly. And he said, but others, like Rupa Goswami, he said he had so much writing and publishing to do. But he said he still kept Sankhya Purvaka, as proved by the song. All the devotees keep the number. And the way to be safe is to take the number from the acharya. So Prabhupada gave a certain number. He said, if you wanted to chant more than 16 rounds, you can chant 16,000 if you like. But you have to keep this number. So it's an important aspect of spiritual practice is to keep the number because it holds the space. Everything else will fill it in automatically. There'll be idle time to look at meaningless images and talk about useless topics that will rush in and take over the time. So this is the mainstay for holding one's self steady in this age of distraction, is to make sure that one finishes one's prescribed rounds every day. Sankhya Purvaka, then one gets spiritual strength. And in another quote, which I don't want to distract myself by looking up right now, I have it on I did read it, I think, last week or the week before. Prabhupada said in the beginning stage, he said in the conditioned stage, when one's chanting Hare Krishna, you should take it officially that I have to chant. And he said your main business should be to finish your prescribed rounds as soon as possible every day. And that's a good directive also, because if we don't have that, then the mind will take charge and do whatever it wishes. We have a couple quick responses, or long-winded, whichever one you wish, since I'm long-winded. Krishna 10, Krishna 9, Krishna 8.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, I really appreciate how you first took us to the Ajamila story, and you said this life is full of danger, and we, even if there's a verse like Helanaba, like even if one chants Vaikuntha Nama Grahana, can't remember the sloka, but it says even if somebody chants without full attention, still he gets benefit. That was reminding me that there is so much hope even for a person who could be very fallen, but the holy name can deliver. For example, Mrigari, by chanting and serving Tulsi, he was delivered. Then Valmiki Muni, he was Ratnakar, but he could not even chant the holy name, but just by the mercy of the holy name, he became such a great saint that Lord Ram, the pastime he wrote, Ramayana, and not only that, Mother Sita was in his ashram. So yes, holy name has the great potency. And lastly, you reminded us that it is important, instead of going with the mind flickering nature, we can fix Sankha Purvaka Nama Gana Rativi. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself counted the name. Haridas Thakur had a prescribed number of rounds. Even Jagai Madai were chanting chanting a fixed number of rounds. Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you for the cascade of nectar. One of the last point is that Prabhupada said, if that it's only because we don't know of the great benefit we get from chanting the holy name of the Lord that either we're inattentive or we don't chant. If one could cultivate that understanding and have a realization of how much benefit there is from chanting Hare Krishna, then one would chant constantly. So it's also a good idea to cultivate the understanding of how great the holy name is. For instance, Padma Purana says, Nama Chintamani Krishnas Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purnashudham Nityamukto Binadvam Namanamino. Abhinadvam Namanamino. There's no difference between Krishna and his name, and he transforms those who chant it. And if anyone feels frustrated by not being able to improve him or herself, the answer is chanting Hare Krishna, because all good qualities are there in Krishna, and we get direct association with Krishna. We all like to improve ourselves, right? And sometimes it seems like, oh, I'm on a plateau, right? Well, maybe not you guys, but me. But if you chant Hare Krishna, then there's a direct route to developing all the good qualities that we ourselves would feel honored to have. And that can be done by touching the holy name with one's tongue. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Panchatattva. I missed one, I left one on the board. Rasayana Kataprabhu, we'll have to leave it there because I usually run it over time. But maybe if you're there during the class, you can bring it up. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Panchatattva, Shri Gaurnitai, Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Lakshmi Nrsingadev, Shri Harinam Prabhu, if you so desire, please instill in us the understanding of how great the holy name is, and please inspire us to chant incessantly. Thank you for considering our request, or at least finish our 16 rounds with great vigor every day. Thank you for considering our request. Om Tat Sat. Everyone agrees with this prayer in whole or in part. Please unmute and say Hare Krishna.